As a teacher, you know the importance of communication. Whether it's discussing the students' progress with their parents or simply answering their questions, effective communication is key to success in the classroom. But what if you had a tool that could help you communicate more effectively with your students? That's where Chat GPT comes in. Chat GPT is an artificial intelligence language model that is designed to have conversations with humans. It is based on the GPT 3.5 architecture and has been trained on vast amounts of text from the internet. Using Chat GPT is simple. All you need to do is type in your question or statement, and Chat GPT will respond with an appropriate answer or comment. This can be particularly helpful in situations where a student is struggling to understand a concept or needs clarification on an assignment. Chat GPT can also assist you in communicating with parents by providing you with suggestions on how to phrase your response to their questions or concerns. And the best part is, you can use Chat GPT anywhere, at any time, on any device that has internet access. So why not give Chat GPT a try? It could be the tool that takes your classroom communication to the next level. Chat GPT, helping teachers communicate more effectively with their students. Now, if you didn't realize, that script that I just read was written entirely by Chat GPT. So if that intrigues you, let's pop on over to the computer and I want to show you a little bit more about what it's capable of. All right, so when you first get into Chat GPT, this is the screen that you'll be faced with, and you do need a Google logon to get in. Now, what I will say is that if you have been using this already, and there are a lot of staff that have been using AI for a little while now, then this probably isn't the video for you. But feel free to watch on anyway and have a look at some of the examples that I use, and you might just learn a couple of new ways to use this in a classroom, but I'll be keeping it fairly simple to start off with. So the first thing is to recognize that this is not just a chat conversation that you're having with an AI or a bot. It's not about just chatting back and forwards. It's about actually asking the AI to do things on your behalf or to do things, generate things for you. But having said that, it is a language model where you're designed to interact with it as though you are speaking to a human being. So we've got a message down here or a space down here to send a message off to the bot for what we want it to actually do. And I guess it's kind of like a Google search, but you're going to phrase it a little bit different. And what we type in down here is what is known as a prompt, as opposed to a search. So a student or someone might jump onto Google and type in something like, how does a computer work? And the Google search will go off and come back with a whole heap of websites that may or may not explain how a computer works. And you would have to then go to those websites and read all of the information. And some of it might be a bit over the top, some of it might be too simple, etc. So this is a little bit different. Instead of just simply asking how a computer works, we're going to talk to the AI as though it is a person and say, can you explain how a computer works? And I'm going to record this in real time so you can see how quickly the response that is generated by the AI comes back to you. And so you can see there very quickly, it's not just searching the web, it's actually using its knowledge that it has from the training that it's received from all of the text that it's been through, and it's returned to us a description of how a computer works. Now, because this is conversational as opposed to just a block of information on a website, we might look at that and go, oh, I don't quite understand. So we might ask, can you simplify this? And we'll go away and the bot will come back and give us a slightly simpler version of its explanation of how a computer works. So prompting and what we're asking for and how we're asking for it becomes a little bit important, just like the terms that we might use in a Google search are important to what the results are that you get back. And in fact, if you were looking at a particular age group, you might say, can you explain how a computer works for a 10-year-old? and we could give it that prompt and it'll come back with a description that it sees as suitable for a 10-year-old child. And you can see it's fairly quick. So that's recorded in real time, the response that it's giving us. So we can ask for explanations of all sorts of things out of Chat GPT. So it's really quite clever in what it's capable of doing, but this is really just scratching the surface. All right, so let's have a look at something we might want Chat GPT to do for us as a teacher. So let's ask Chat GPT to write a lesson plan for us. So can you write and we're going to be a little bit specific here because we need to, in our prompt, give Chat GPT some information so it knows what the lesson plan needs to be about. So I'm going to ask for a 60-minute lesson plan to teach a group of, let's say, year 10 students about DNA and inheritance. And we'll see how it goes with that. All right, so again, real-time generation. It's given us a list of materials that we need. And we've got 60 minutes up the top there, and it's going through a timed lesson plan of what we could teach and how we could teach it. So in no time at all, remember this doesn't exist anywhere on the web. It's not a copy and paste from someone else's lesson plan that's been published online. This has been generated by the AI based on the AI's understanding of what lesson plans are, what teachers do, year 10 students and their capacity, and the theory that would need to be taught at that level. But we might look at that and say, well, let's make some changes. This is a conversation. We're having a conversation with this chatbot here, and we're looking at this, and we might say, it's a little bit boring. So can you add an let's see if we can add an activity to the lesson to try and make it a little bit more exciting. And so it's going to go off now and rewrite the lesson for us to include an activity. All right, so let's take a different approach rather than a science approach. Let's say we are in a business lesson and we're talking to students about setting up a new business, and the kids need some names for their business. So we're going to tell Chat GPT, I am starting a new business that sells, I don't know, let's make it a bit obscure. It sells prawns. Can you suggest 10 catchy business names? So again, it's going to go away, it's going to have a little think, and it's going to come back with some suggestions for business names based on the information that we gave it. And if we didn't like any of those, we could simply reprompt it and say, I don't like those, can you suggest some more? And it will keep going. But let's say number 4, let's say prawn delights, we really like that. So again, talking to the chatbot like a person, I really like number 4. Can you generate 10 catch phrases for the business? And it should be able to go away and have a look at number 4 and come back with some catchy catchphrases for us. And then we might even go one step further and say, well, okay, we're starting this new business. We need a logo for this business. So can you if it can suggest some ways of generating some logos around that business name that we really like. And again, very quickly, it's coming back with some suggestions. And if you really have a look through them, they'll all be quite well thought out suggestions as well. So yeah, this is a lot more than just searching a Google search. This is actually generating fresh content based on an artificial intelligence idea of the world, the way it's been trained, essentially. All right, so let's start a new chat and maybe have a look at an English example. And I'm always quite intrigued by Chat GPT's ability to write poetry. So let's have a go at that. We'll try and do something that's a little bit obscure and see what it can come up with. So can you write a poem about my border collie Bella? So again, we're using a prompt that has some specific information in it so that Chat GPT knows what to build the poem around. So not just her name, but we've said that it's a border collie named Bella. In fact, we might put in there named Bella and her love of a blue soccer ball. Okay, let's see what that comes up with, because that's quite obscure. And there we have it, really, really fast. Again, this is live. This is as it's writing, not sped up. I'm not going to read the poem out to you, but there is a poem, original poem, never existed before, written about my border collie Bella and her love of her blue soccer ball. So it's really quite clever there. Okay, now let's say that we need to write an email, because that's the other thing that Chat GPT is good at, is writing things on our behalf. But again, because it doesn't know what we want it to write about, the prompt that we give it needs to have some details in there so that it knows what to generate about. So let's say I have a Year 7 maths student who has failed their maths test. Can you write an email to their parents, informing them of the result? Now, again, I've kept that sort of specific, but not overly specific. I haven't actually put the student's name in there or the parents' names. So let's see how we go there. We might have to just add a little bit of information in after it's generated the message. So let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's given us some space there to insert the student and parent names. So it is still, a relatively copy and paste type message that is generating. Okay, but you might look at that and go, well, that's way too much. We don't need the message to be that long. All we're doing is notifying them of a result in an exam. So let's say, can you make this shorter? And I like the way that this is conversational, so we don't need to re-prompt, we don't need to restate what it is that we're after. We're simply just having this conversation and saying, well, you know what, that was a bit long, so can you just make it a bit shorter for me? And it's gone away and done that. And if we wanted to, we can just have a little bit of fun here and say, can you make this message more informal and include some emojis? There we go. Now, we probably wouldn't do this, but again, just showing how we can use that conversational process with the AI to generate content. All right, so look, this is really, really, literally just scratching the surface of what AI can do, and Chat GPT is only one of the language models out there that's capable of doing this. It's probably one of the more popular ones, and it's definitely growing over time in its capacity. There is a bit of a saying going around the AI world at the moment that says that this is the worst it will ever be. So you might look at this today and go, wow, that's generating some pretty cool content for us, and without too much prompting, without too much information. That is amazing. And it definitely is, but it's the worst it's going to be. We're only going to see things improve from here. And, our kids are going to be using it. There's no way around it. And it's my sort of goal that we will teach our students how to use this as a tool as opposed to a cheat. And I think if we hide Chat GPT and the other AIs from our students, they will tend to think of it as a cheating tool rather than something that will actually help them and guide them towards something better. And I'll give you an example. I said to my year 11 ICT kids the other day, I said, let's say you wanted to write an email to me to apologize for your behavior in class. So if you went to Chat GPT and typed in the prompt, write an email to my teacher to apologize for my poor behavior in class, and it generated an email and you sent that to me. Even though you didn't type it, it's not coming from you personally, I would still feel like you at least thought about the fact that you had misbehaved. You thought about the fact that you should be sending me an email and had gone to the trouble of actually doing it. So the fact that it was AI generated actually wouldn't bother me. So yeah, I think we need to embrace this technology because it's not going anywhere. So stay tuned, and I'll start to put together some videos of some way more complex things that AI is capable of doing for us. All right, but thanks for now.